In spring 2025, North American trade was rocked when President Trump announced a sweeping 25% tariff on all imported vehicles and auto parts. The automotive industry, once a seamless network across the US, Canada, and Mexico, was thrown into chaos. Cars assembled in Michigan with engines from Mexico and transmissions from Canada now faced steep new costs at every border. The administration claimed this would protect American jobs and force companies to bring manufacturing home. But critics warned that American-made cars often rely on global parts, making the tariff a blunt instrument. Automakers suddenly faced billions in new costs, threatening millions of jobs and decades of cross-border cooperation. The move marked a dramatic escalation in trade tensions, with the future of North American manufacturing hanging in the balance. The stage was set for a high-stakes economic conflict with no clear end in sight. Headlines swirled, but the truth was simple. The $214 billion figure represented all passenger cars the US imported globally in 2024. The new tariff wasn't aimed at one country. It hit every foreign automaker, including close partners like Canada and Mexico. In 2024, the US imported over $50 billion in vehicles from Canada and $137 billion from Mexico. Partners, not rivals. Now even these imports face the same 25% duty as cars from Germany or Japan. The administration's goal forced automakers to build in the US or pay a steep price. This was a preemptive strike to reshape the entire auto industry, not retaliation for a single deal. Every nation selling cars or parts to the US was suddenly in the crosshairs. The era of seamless North American auto manufacturing was over, at least for now. The tariffs triggered immediate retaliation from Canada and Mexico, who saw the move as a violation of the USMCA. Canada slapped 25% tariffs on $155 billion of US goods, targeting politically sensitive sectors. Mexico imposed tariffs on over 500 American products, some as high as 50%, hitting agriculture and industry. The once unified North American trade bloc fractured overnight. American farmers and manufacturers suddenly faced steep barriers in their biggest export markets. Supply chains that once flowed freely now faced costly delays and logistical chaos. Products like tractors and pork became uncompetitive abroad, turning unrelated industries into collateral damage. The continent became a patchwork of new barriers, with businesses and workers caught in the crossfire. Uncertainty and instability replaced decades of economic integration. The impact on ordinary people was swift and severe. New car prices in the US jumped by thousands of dollars, even for models assembled domestically. Automakers like GM and Ford, reliant on cross-border parts, faced plummeting stock prices and tough choices: absorb costs, raise prices, or overhaul operations. Thousands of jobs in logistics, parts, and dealerships were suddenly at risk. Some US suppliers gained a temporary edge, but most were caught in a web of rising costs and shrinking demand. Foreign automakers outside North America eyed new opportunities as local producers struggled. For workers, the fallout was uneven. Some gained job security, others faced layoffs. Canadian and Mexican industries scrambled to adapt, with a few finding short-term advantages. But overall, the disruption created instability and anxiety across the continent. North America now faces a crossroads. Will this trade war be a temporary negotiating tactic or a permanent shift toward protectionism? As tariffs bite, pressure mounts for leaders to compromise and restore stability. A new deal could strengthen labor and content rules but would require tough diplomacy. Alternatively, companies may start shifting supply chains out of North America, seeking stability elsewhere. The continent risks becoming a collection of rivals instead of a unified economic bloc. The legacy of NAFTA and USMCA, built on cooperation, is under threat. The future depends on whether leaders choose partnership or competition. The livelihoods of millions and the economic health of all three nations hang in the balance.